saying that the last time we saw each other, so yeah, I'm glad you went through with that. That's really neat. Yeah, speaking of which, it's been so long since we've seen each other. So is that kind of the main thing that's been up with you, or anything else? No, but yeah, alright. Well, nothing really changes over here, just kind of music and school, Yeah. I get that as well. We all have our issues, but yeah. Music, yeah, of course I can talk about. You're asking me if I can talk about music. I mean, do you even need to ask? I feel like we should start with you. What kind of music have you been doing lately? Oh, you just gotta alright. I am totally fine for suggestions. Are you joking? I would be honored for suggestions. I was actually just sorting through some of my records. So I have a few handy, and then I also just got ones off the top of my head that just kind of do on the phone and whatnot that I don't have physical records for yet. So here's one of a band I really like. I feel like I've mentioned them to you before. I know I just spout out bands at you, so I'm sure you don't remember. But Beirut, do you remember that name? No, I know it's the capital of Lebanon. Beirut the band. I mean, obviously, but yeah, this was his first album. This was back in 2006. It's called the Gulag Orchestra, which means Gulag Orchestra. You know what the Gulag is? Dumb question. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's a really unique name, isn't it? I think it's fun, especially because I think he was only 17 at the time. Impressive. I mean, gosh, I love this album so much. I remember my uncle introduced me to Beirut, and after not that too long of a time, I was a bigger fan than he was, because I was saying songs that he didn't even recognize. But yeah, this album is great. I don't think they have any I say they their group thing. It's an on and off thing. Zach Condon is the main guy, and he just kind of hires people. Right now, he's a solo artist, but it's always under Beirut. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I don't think he has any songs that you recognize. But for me, some of the best lie within this album. So the titular opening track of the Gulag Orchestra, a very dramatic, heavy opening. One of my favorite Beirut songs ever, Prince Lauberg, fantastic song. Then you got Brandenburg, Postcards from Italy. I'd say if you were to recognize any of these somehow, it'd definitely be this one, and for good reason. A lot of artists, their most popular song is just one of those things where it's how? But I mean, this is a fantastic song. This deserves to be famous. Mount Royal, I just gotta call it Idle Days when I have to refer to it, because I mean, do you know how to pronounce that? Okay. That makes two of us. Rhineland, Scenic World. Ooh, Scenic World on the Long Island EP is phenomenal. This one's kind of electronic, which in some songs you can do pretty well, but it just hearing the other Scenic World where it's all the trumpets and just the beauty, that's a much better version, and it's so much more true to Beirut as well. So Bratislava is a fantastic one. That's one of my favorite ones by him. The Bunker, The Canals of Our City, and After the Curtain. Like I said, this is a phenomenal first album, especially to do at such a young age. And I think this was mostly a solo project. So fantastic. So incredible. So yeah, it's kind of it's very heavy on instrumental, and it's unique That's how you impress people. By showing them a song like this, because I'm gonna guarantee you, no one listens to music like this because you can't find music like this. Trust me, I've tried. I want to find bands like Beirut so badly, and it hasn't gone well. Oh, kind of, except for one here. I know I have one of their records in this pile here. Let me try to find it for you real quick. The Decemberists. They're much more mainstream, I would say. When it comes to their song, this is also their debut album, but they're also much more mainstream when it comes to like writing songs. They're much more radio friendly, is I guess how you would call it. But that does not mean they do not write some good songs. I love the Decemberists. Like, there's a time when they were kind of all I would listen to. Probably all of these artists I'm going to talk about, there was a period where they were all I would listen to. But I digress. That's just who I am as a musical person. But yeah, this album is called Castaways and Cutouts. And what's really weird is that if you go to like listen to this album on like YouTube or I think like any streaming service, the cover's different. Like, it's the same thing where it's like a sailboat and everyone's like flying away, but it's like a completely different picture. So I'm really curious. So I know that Colin Malloy, who's the main singer-songwriter, wife, does all of the covers. So she did this one, and I guess that's just why like they changed it for physical releases. But hey, I still think it's cool. Anyway, the track list is here. We got Leslie on Levine, fantastic song. I really like playing that one on guitar. That's a fun one to do. Here I Dreamt I Was an Architect, one of their best. Another one, super popular, but deserves to be. That's also a good one to do on guitar, mostly for the singing part, but it's alright. July, July, that's great. Oh man, I remember, it reminded me to tell you of like the story the first time I heard this album someday. Yeah, July, July, a cautionary song. This is basically like just a 4-minute long Your Mom's a Ho joke, but it's done like story wise. Like, they're not actually that immature. It's a whole story, and it has a message where it's like, treat your mother respectfully. So, you know, I kind of hammed it up to be something it's not, because I don't want to put them in that light. Anyway, Odalisque is great. There's a bit that kind of sounds like I Want You, She's So Heavy by the Beatles, but it works. Sounds really cool. Cocoon, this one just kind of goes on forever, and I don't think it's doing enough to go on forever, but I mean, it's a good addition. Grace Cathedral Hill, though, ooh, beautiful song. I mean, oh, where do I begin on this? I listen to that one. If you want recommendations, listen to that one. The Legionnaire's Lament is really fun. Clementine is a soft little deal. It's kind of like Cocoon, but much shorter and not as melodramatic. And then California One Youth and Beauty Brigade. Great way to end a debut album. Like a 10-minute long song, and it's good. It's real good. So yeah, the Decemberists, they're really neat. They're still making music. They just released a new album back in like June. And they just went on tour for that. Like, they, so the main setup, there's 5 of them. There's Colin Malloy, who I mentioned. He's the main singer-songwriter. He's usually on acoustic. And there's Chris Funk. He is kind of the lead guitarist. Usually he will be, but he's a multi-instrumentalist, so he's not always on guitar. But when he is, he's usually on electric. Then there's John Moen, who is the drummer. Not much changes at that point. I mean, sometimes he'll play a different instrument, better hurry this up. I don't want to take your entire day. You'll recognize this band. I just need to be careful because I know you're a bit sensitive to kind of stuff like that, and I want to respect that. So I'm sure you know what this is, right? Nirvana in Utero. Well, yeah, they wrote Nevermind, but yeah, that's the one with the baby. Yeah, Nirvana. Everyone knows Nirvana. Mostly by the shirts, but yes, I know I could trust you. Okay. Have you ever listened to In Utero, though? No? Alright, cool. So, this isn't going to be for nothing. Here, let me flip it onto the back side here. Just so it's a bit easier to hold. So this one, if I'm feeling it, I do like this one more than Nevermind. Nevermind is a very pretty, very melody heavy album. This one I feel like kind of defines Nirvana, I think it takes Bleach and Nevermind into account and creates something very, like I said, very Nirvana. I think this is where Kurt Cobain really shined. I don't want to get into the track list because, again, there's a song that I knew you'd be kind of sensitive to, and I don't want to, upset you or anything. But, so I guess if you're going to get into Nirvana, do it at your own risk, because I know you go a bit easier with that kind of stuff, and that's alright. But if you are feeling up to it, the only song that he didn't just write Smells Like Teen Spirit, you know what I mean? He was famous for a reason. So, yeah, I'll get off it, because I know maybe it's a sore subject for you. Do you remember that one time I told you about that one album in the airplane over the sea? Yeah, I'll spare you from talking about it again, because then I'd really be taking up your entire day. I'll tell you about their other album, though. Neutral Milk Hotel is the band, right? You remember that? Okay, cool. Unique name, I know, hard to forget. Here it is. Yeah, this was their debut album. This is On Avery Island. So, great album, right? I love it a lot. The physical version is kind of strange. It's a double LP, but you spin them all at 45 speed, but they're normal sized records. So there was just no need to do that. Yeah, I don't know. It's a great album, but maybe listen on your phone. But the fun thing with double LPs is they open up, and this one is very cool. Wow. Is that not neat? Look at that, On Avery Island. Is that not the coolest inside you've ever seen? Gosh. And then the back is just a picture of stars. I mean, it's such a simplistic, outside, and then the inside is just this, beautiful, painting. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to talk about the track list off the top of my head, which I can totally do. You got a Song Against Sex as a track one. Which reminds me of a different song by a different artist that we will talk about next. Remind me, okay. Thank you. Which is a really good one. A good opener. And then it transitions into, no it doesn't. I'm saying. Like, he does it so uniquely, and the lyrics are completely different song. And then I want to say the next one. You're testing me. I'm blaming this on you. I think April 1st is next, which is just a cute little like trumpet instrumental. It's pretty nice. It's a very nice kind of in between song, and then it goes into Gardenet / Leave Me Alone, which is like this explosion, and then Leave Me Alone starts, and fantastic song, beautiful. And then it goes into Three Beaches, which is a unique one, but I feel like the album wouldn't be the same if it didn't have it. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's not a very good like standalone song, but it's a great inclusion to the album because Naomi is next, and oh my gosh, what a song! Like, I know In the Aeroplane is his most popular and whatnot, because of course it is, but like Naomi, fantastic song. Oh my gosh, I'm swooning just thinking about it. And then that transitions into April 8th, which is, I'm sorry, the end of this album is so fantastic. That goes into April 8th, which is so beautiful, like so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And then that explodes into the final track that has like a sentence long name where it's like pre/sisters swallowing a donkey's eye or something. It's like 13 minutes long, and it's just like this banjo part that just like looped over and over and over, and it just is crazy. On every island, like, I know I told you about it in the airplane, but please check out this album if you want recommendations. Right, thank you for reminding me. This one you will recognize. It's Weezer. Everyone knows Weezer, you know? Yeah. Like, I feel like if you were to ask a random person to name 3 Weezer songs, they could. Let's be honest here. But Pinkerton, I mean, do I even have to say anything? You don't know anything about Weezer. Alright, I will talk about it then. You just know of Weezer. I get it. I was like that too at a time. And then I started listening to them. Look, I didn't want to listen to them, okay? Because I would try them out and be like, I don't know, this doesn't really like hit me. And then for some reason I just kept on trying them. And then one day I listened to Pinkerton. And then I became a fan. Because can you blame me? Have you heard any song off this album? Oh, you probably had The Good Life, right? Yes, okay, cool. I feel like that gives you a false sense of Pinkerton, but really not that false of a sense. I mean, it's a great song. Oh, El Scorcho, you've heard the name. Alright, that's a fun one. But yeah, those are the 2, like, popular ones. Personally, I went to go see him in concert, and they had a whole Pinkerton section. Didn't play those 2 songs. I was so happy. Like, don't get me wrong, I love those songs, but the fact that they were playing other Pinkerton songs, whoa. Yeah, iceberg it in different. Alright, cool. I mean, that's what I expected, just because I know you, but hey, maybe you have some opinion I didn't know of, but yeah. There's this band called Ghost. Now, probably think you never heard of them. That's where you're wrong. Do you know a song called Mary on a Cross? I knew it. I knew it. They wrote that. And do not stop just listening to that song, because soon you will never listen to that song again and listen to every other song they have. Even on that EP, the other two are like equally as good, if not better. Don't get me wrong, I love Mary on a Cross. It's a great song. You just gotta listen to what else they're doing, because and the fun thing about Ghost is that it's like a story. I don't think it was originally meant to be, but it became one. So what happens, there's this guy called Tobias Forge that lives in Sweden, and he starts a band called Ghost after a few other bands, but story for another day. And he wants to do it in like characters. So he's this character called the Papa Emeritus, which is basically this like satanic priest that he buys like a face mask and paints up like a kind of like a skeleton looking face paint design on this mask, and then he wears his like robes, his like pope robes, so he sings, and then he has these people called ghouls with them, who are just like anonymous figures in like cloaks and hoods that do all the instrumental. So yeah, that's how it begins. But no one knows it's Tobias Forge. I mean, even to this day, like, if he features on a song, you will say, like, the name of the character he's playing will be put down, because no one was originally supposed to know it, like, who even Tobias Forge was, until a part of the story we'll get to. So one day, the Cash is doing better because Ghost is doing better, so he buys a better face mask. But it'd be pretty weird if suddenly Papa Emeritus just looked different, right? So during one of the shows, Papa Emeritus the first passes the torch off to Papa Emeritus the second. So now there's a whole new frontman, and you know, just from appearance, it looks like that's genuinely the case. It looks like the old frontman literally just welcomed in a new frontman, because remember, no one knows who Tobias Forge is, and they don't know he's under that mask or that he started this band or anything. So there's this whole new frontman that is just Papa Emeritus the second, with a much better face painting design, or not design, but like the quality is a lot better because cha-ching. So yeah, things are going pretty well for Ghost right now. Same setup, ghouls, everything. The ghouls stay the entire time. So does Papa. Anyway, so I think this was when it was in Tobias Forge's mind, where he's like, oh, I'll make this a story, because, you know, if one person passes off to the next, why not do it again? Which is what he does. Papa Emeritus the third comes in one day. I want to say Papa 2 got like dragged off stage or something. I don't know. I think it was a lot more violent than just the nice initiation from 1 to 2. But Papa 3, as they call him, Terzo, he is not in robes. I mean, he has robes, but he is famously in like kind of like a prince uniform. He's so much more flexible and movable, and the ghouls get redesigns. They now have like these silver looking, they're not actually silver, like demon masks, and they're still in black, but now So it just kind of, no one knew that was the frontman just putting on a different mask. And then calamity strikes, and there's a lawsuit against Tobias Forge because some of the people who founded the band along with him feel like they deserve some cash. However, it was always solely Tobias's band, and he just hires musicians. He's the only lone member, and so he wins the case. However, because of legal documents, everyone now knows who Tobias Forge is. So, everyone knows he's been playing the Papa every time. And, the bright side is he can finally start doing interviews as himself, which is pretty good because he accepted a Grammy as Papa 3, which I think is awesome. But I don't know if that were me, I'd feel a little embarrassed, so. But I think it's really cool. It wouldn't be the same if you went up there as Tobias Forge. Because like I said, to him those aren't characters, to him those are the frontmen, you know what I mean? Anyway, so eventually Terzo gets dragged off stage one show, and this really old dude comes out and he's like, "I'm Papa Zero. Welcome to the Dark Ages." And this is when Ghost moved onto YouTube and started doing things called chapters, which are basically like 3 to 5 minute long little videos that carry up with the Ghost story. So this is where we meet our next frontman, Papa 4, you might say. Because Papa Zero, his actual name is Papa Nil, is still a Papa. So there can't be a Papa 4, there can't be two Papas at once. What are you thinking? So instead, Cardinal walks in, because keeping with the church theme, Cardinal Copia, and he leads them for Era 4 until one day, Papa Nil dies. And there needs to be a Papa. So Cardinal Copia becomes Papa 4, which is where we are right now, but not for long. Because Papa 5 is on the way. In the latest chapter, he was seen knocking on the door but couldn't get in, and Ghost is going on a world tour next year, and you and I should go. How does that sound? I mean, I just told you the entire story. I know I talked almost none of their music, but all that is to say, you should check out their music, because I genuinely think it is the best music I've ever heard. Like, there's a reason they're my favorite band right now. Like, I listen to all of their albums on repeat. Like, it's bad. Like, I listen to so much Ghost. I mean, it's insane. Like, so much. Like, more than I did the Beatles, and you knew how that was. Like, yeah. So, if that tells you anything, it's to go listen to Ghost. Please. Hey, I'll check up on that, alright? I'm holding you to that. I would start with, the album I started with was Prequel, which was Cardinal Copia's album. That remains one of my favorite albums, but you need to make sure you listen to it front to back all at once. Otherwise, you don't get the full experience, because hearing one of the songs alone doesn't give it the value of hearing it when it's backed up by every other song. And the final song, going through all of Prequel to be met with Life Eternal really feels like you are getting Life Eternal. It is just so heavenly, which is ironic to say, considering the kind of band Ghost is. But, yeah, they only have 5 albums out right now. honestly, I recommend all their albums. My top, like, three. Yeah, I'll give it top three. Top three are Prequel, Infestissimum, which was Papa Two's. That one is heavy into the Satan, so maybe don't listen to that around religious people. Just a thought. I know I don't. No one even really knows I listen to Ghost. Well, not no one. I'm talking about the religious people I know. Don't know I listen to Ghost because can't imagine that going very well. But yeah, so Infestissimum is really cool. The song Infestissimum is the opening, and it starts out with this like Gregorian choir, and then it kicks into like a rock version as the choir continues singing, and I think it's the coolest thing ever. And that album also has Gigolo Armageddon, which like at first you'll listen to it and be like, oh okay, that was a pretty solid song, and then you're gonna listen to it again and again and again, and then you're gonna hear the acoustic version, and you'll be like, this is one of the greatest songs ever written. Oh, that one also has Year Zero. Yeah, great album. And then Impera, which was Papa Four's. So, Cardinal Copia, remember, same character. That one is probably objectively the best album. Kaiserion is one of the greatest songs ever. Like, it's just so good for so many reasons. Spillways is great. I know people compare it to the Pokemon theme song, but like, that's a fantastic song. Alright? Don't let Pokemon get in the way of you enjoying Spillways. 20s, that's a fantastic one. Darkness at the Heart of My Love. Griftwood. Ooh, fantastic album. Yeah, that's a real great one. And then honorable mention to Meliora, which was Papa 3's, because that is Cerise. Oh my gosh, Cerise. Cerise is this really cool, like, heavy one. They're technically a metal band, where it's like boom boom, but then it will kick into like this soft piano, and it's like, can't you see that you're lost? And it's honestly, that song's romantic to me. Like, I kind of hear that as a romantic song, just because the music video, which is one of the greatest music videos ever, by the way, is like this like talent show at a church, and it's just like a bunch of kids just doing like normal like talents children would have, and in the audience is this one little girl named Cerise. She's kind of uninterested in all of it, just because her mom dragged her along. But then comes in this one band, which, you know, kind of coincidentally looks like the band Ghost, but children version. Papa is this little kid, and all the ghouls are also little kids. So it's like this little like love story between child Papa and Cerise in the audience, and like how he's trying to say like, you can like break away, like it's okay. Can't you see that you're lost without me? And she's like, yeah, this is what I want. And you know, since they're in church, everyone else is like, no, and they try to like take her away and like stop the band, and then eventually Cerise turns out to be like magical and like starts shutting doors and doing wind and whatnot. It's insane, but it's really cool, and I think it's kind of romantic in like a cute way, just because like they're little kids, and he's like, I don't know, he just seems so like independent, probably because he's Papa, but you know, he's like, come with me, and Cerise is like, yeah. But like, even if you just listen to the song, it just sounds romantic. And then there's Yes, which is a shot at mega churches, which honestly just listened to it like it was normal, and then people found out what it was and they were terrified. And I think that's so funny. Yeah, that's a great album. I think the other three are better, but I'm so sorry. I've been talking about Ghost for so long. Are you satisfied? I know you're probably not, but do you want me to stop talking is more what I was asking. Yes, okay. I'm sorry. Hey, if you ask me about music, you know I'm going to be like this. Like, we've known each other for how long? And all of my conversations that I start center around